In this short video, you'll learn the difference between the trial balance and the balance sheet in accounting. Hey there, I'm James and welcome back to Accounting Stuff. Recently, I made a video covering the balance sheet where I mentioned this. The trial balance is not the same thing as the balance sheet. If you'd like to see me make a video explaining the differences, let me know in the comments. And you guys got back to me, so thank you, and here we are. The trial balance versus the balance sheet. Both of these reports have balance in their names, which makes them easy to get mixed up. More on that soon, along with a knowledge bomb that I'd like to share with you. But first, I want to explain how the trial balance and the balance sheet are actually very different from one another, but also very similar at the same time. Cryptic. The trial balance is an internal accounting report showing the closing balances of all general ledger accounts at a single point in time. It looks like this. We have three columns: accounts, debits, and credits. The accounts column contains a complete list of all of the general ledger accounts in a business, and to the right of it, we have the total debits or total credits in each account. The trial balance shows us the closing balances of all of these accounts at a single point in time. So we need to make that clear in the title. I'm going to use Old Faithful, the window cleaning example that we've covered a few times before. So we'll run through our trial balance to September 30th, and here are our closing numbers. At the bottom of the trial balance, we normally take the totals for both the debit and credit columns. This is a check to ensure that our books are in balance, because in double entry accounting, debits and credits must match each other exactly at all times. Back when accounting was done manually, the trial balance was used to check that total debits were equal to total credits across all accounts. Accountants would literally spend hours or even days trying to work out where they'd messed up if these totals didn't match each other exactly. Thankfully, nowadays this check is done for us automatically when we use accounting software. But to us accountants, the trial balance is still an internal document that we use to check for errors. There are a whole bunch of ways that those errors can still sneak their way into here. If you'd like to learn more about that, then check out my trial balance video, which you can find up here. Another way that we accountants use the trial balance is to help us put together financial statements. You can think of financial statements as formal reports that we use to summarize a business's financial performance, position, and cash flow. The three main types of financial statement are the income statement, the balance sheet, and the cash flow statement. The balance sheet is a snapshot of a business's assets, liabilities, and equity at a single point in time. While this definition might sound similar to the trial balance, it's actually quite different. A balance sheet looks like this. We have all of our window cleaning business's assets, liabilities, and equity laid out for us separately on one page. At the bottom, we have our total assets and our total liabilities plus equity. After all, we're double entry accounting, so the balance sheet has to balance. We accountants prepare financial statements, like the balance sheet, to give our business's key stakeholders an idea of its financial health. Who are the stakeholders? Our existing and potential investors, lenders, and creditors. External parties that want to know about our financial position. On the other hand, the trial balance is used internally by us accountants to check the integrity of our financial data. We run the trial balance as often as we need to get the job done, whereas typically we only put together a balance sheet when we need to at the end of each financial year. That's when we have to report our results to the external parties that I mentioned a moment ago. So we have two very different reports with two very different purposes. But here's where things get interesting. I mentioned earlier that we accountants use the trial balance to help us prepare financial statements. And the balance sheet is a financial statement, one of the most important ones. So when it comes to reporting time, we begin by running a trial balance. This is our starting point, the foundation that we use to build the balance sheet. We can see that here in our window cleaning business. Cash, supplies, and equipment are all types of assets that we report in the assets section of our balance sheet. Accounts payable and long-term loans are both liabilities, which we report in the liabilities section. And owner's equity, yes, you guessed it, is a type of equity which goes here in the equity section of the balance sheet. Finally, revenue, cost of sales, and laundry costs are a bit more complicated. Not too complicated, just a bit, because they get reported in two different financial statements. The income statement, which we use to track our profit, and then again in the balance sheet in the equity section, because retained earnings make up our profits held for future use. You might be wondering why these totals are different. That's because we netted together some of our debits and credits in the income statement before we took the profit through to the balance sheet. So, the trial balance and the balance sheet are two different reports, but they have a strong link that binds them together. We use the trial balance to create the balance sheet. Now, that last bit where I mentioned retained earnings and equity can be a bit confusing. If you'd like to learn more about it, then I recommend you check out my equity video, which you can find up here. Give this video a big old like if you found it useful. Why not? Doesn't hurt. I release new accounting tutorials each week on this channel, so hit subscribe to avoid missing out on those. And as always, if you've got any questions, you can reach me in the comments or message me on Instagram @accounting